everyone. We modeled the colors of 1 billion stars with NetCam to generate the deepest and highest angular resolution 3D dust map of the interstellar medium of our Milky Way. So if you look at the slide, this is a traditional view of the interstellar medium based in 2D dust emissions from Herschel, which many of you have likely seen before. So if you look at the slide, this is an integrated view of a 3D dust extinction map built on 1 billion stars from NetCam. And this is integrated out to the galactic center. If we advance the slide one more time, we're actually just going to step back in distance, and you'll see things start to disappear. And that's because of further distance in what we're showing. And the implications of this are several. So for many of you, we need to de-radioactive astronomical objects in the Milky Way. So this enables a host of downstream science. And so the SPI map is now available. The catalog is also available on our lab, Astro Data Lab. But for me, these maps are the foundation from which I understand the physics of the galactic variance cycle in the Milky Way. If you don't know where a cloud is, it's very difficult to understand how it formed and how it evolves over time. And so my group is actively using these maps to understand star formation, stellar feedback, galactic structure, and galactic dynamics. And in the very near future, we're very excited to combine 20 billion stars from Roman and Rubin to map the interstellar medium and stellar populations on the far side of the galaxy, where we've never been able to access. And so stay tuned for that in the coming years. Thanks.
Okay, I'm presenting work by a Harvard grad student, Esther Peterson, and her supervisor, Chris Stubbs. And so this is a little bit different work from the standard observations that we've been doing with Rubin. This is actually using the Rubin Auxiliary 1.2 meter telescope, which actually uses stars to backlight the atmosphere so that we can measure the atmospheric attenuation and then correct the Rubin images for that attenuation. So the goal is to measure specifically aerosols, water, and ozone, and other features. And so what the team's doing is they're using a multi-band notch filter plus slitless dispersed imaging, and that allows aperture photometric analysis of the spectra. So the figure at the bottom shows an example using a star, which is, I think it's HT2811, I can't really quite read it. And then you can see the 4 filters there, and on the left there's some features from the Balmer lines, and in the middle there's a H gamma absorption feature. And so they are taking basically averages, they're removing the background, and on the right shows the fits to one of the filter bands. And then the ultimate goal is to remove the sky features at a milling magnitude level, and that's going to allow much more accurate cosmology for type 1a supernova studies. And if you want to know more, the paper is published in PASP and just this February, so take a look.
Thank you. So I'm reporting on the dissertation of Evan Link, who I just defended 2 weeks ago, so it's now Dr. Evan Link. His thesis was on blue stragglers, which are main sequence stars that have acquired mass and binary companions. I'll remind you that 25% of all solar-type stars go through the SS blue straggler phase. So these are not anomalies, it's a major evolutionary channel. But we don't know their interior structure. And we also really know very little about their environment. Is there another? Because I didn't get that information. Okay, great. So we're reporting on 3 old open clusters, and really the key there is that the main sequence stars in these clusters have already spun down. You can see M67 is the age of the sun. So all of the main sequence stars are very slowly rotating when the mass was put on them. And so the idea is what happened to those stragglers when that happened. So we obtained 70 FaceTime measurements from Lubin, Hydra, and Shell. The CMDs on the top really show the effect in themselves. The blue triangles are essentially upper limits on the V sin I, and as you go across the temperature, the rotation continues to increase. The bottom slide, those of you who knew about craft will appreciate this. This is the craft figure, but these are blue stragglers. These are not filled main sequence stars. You'll notice above 6,700, they're rapidly rotating. So that means they were spun when they were created. Below 6,400, they're all spun down. They're essentially down around 10 kilometers a second or so. And in the middle is a craft break, and you can see them spinning down there. So this is one of the more beautiful craft diagrams, and really shows that after mass transfer, the stars return to relatively normal interior sequences of magnetic fields.
Hi everyone, I'm Yang from Princeton University. I'm working on laboratory astrophysics to create astrophysical phenomena inside of the light and then study the physics behind it. I will talk about one of my work on laboratory solar flares. And here is the BP's observation of the fine scale coronal flare loops. We can create similar structures in the laboratory experiments as the evolution showed below. And we scale the large-scale structure from 1 micrometer to be 10 centimeter, and the slow time scale from 10 seconds to be a fast one, microsecond. And in this experiment, we study the evolution of the plasma loop and the particle acceleration associated with this process. On the right side, it shows an evolution of 2 strands fluxural structure, and kink instability developed on each strand independently. The instability chokes the radius down and then breaks the strand. After the strand breaking, we got hard X-ray emissions from the broken loop part, and we measure the X-ray energy at 7.6 kiloelectron volt, while the plasma temperature is only 2 electron volts. So there is a 3 orders difference between the non-thermal particle acceleration and the thermal temperature. And interestingly, there are 2 separate X-ray bursts from each strand breaking mimic the non-flare features. And prior to the X-ray burst, we also measure the high voltage spikes related to the particle acceleration. And more details can be seen from the paper. Thank you.
This one? I'm going to talk about 2 results. One is stellar revolution, one galactic evolution. The stellar revolution work is the work of a PhD student at UC Santa Cruz, Avi Patel. And what you see here on the left is a portion of the Andromeda Galaxy imaged with the Hubble Space Telescope as part of the FAT survey. In the upper left, you see the number of visits. So these tiles overlap. So there are regions of the sky that have been visited more than once. The panel to the right of that, the bright colors, tells you the time baseline between visits. And you can see that it goes over 100 days, that's the part in blue, whereas the parts in red are less than a day. So we have a wide range of baselines. And just to show you the bottom line, the 2 color magnitude diagrams in the upper right show you where variable stars lie in CMD space, and Avi's made an attempt to classify them into different phases of stellar evolution. You can see the sky distribution of the variable stars in green in the map in the lower left. If I can go to the next clip, please. I wanted to show you this sort of wide field image of the Milky Way with Andromeda as that tiny little disk in the near the center of the frame. We can go to the next clip. This is zooming in, where you can see a portion of the Andromeda disk. And the next clip zooms in even more, to the point where you can see individual stars in Andromeda. And we've coupled this with multi-object spectroscopy on Keck. This is the work of another graduate student, Douglas Trion-Filiu. So we can use stars as a function of stellar age. We can look at their kinematics, and that's the last clip, please. This is velocity as a function of sky position. Thank you.
Okay, well, I would like to introduce you to a large Cycle 3 JWST program. It targets, I think, the most active star-forming region within 500 parsecs of the sun. It's the, for those in the know, the OMC2-3 region, which actually sits above the Orion Nebula. And if you look on the right, there's a sort of shows you the NIRCam footprints. There's 7 of them, and they sort of follow the filamentary structure of this cloud. And towards 13, there's 46 protostars in this region, that's why it's so active. Towards 13 of those, we have IFU data that goes from 2.9 to 27 microns, we expect, in MIRI. And with those, we are looking at the compositions of the ices, we're measuring accretion rates onto those protostars, and what I'm sort of going to show here is we're also measuring the feedback from those protostars, which is very important for both shaping the initial mass function and regulating star formation. And you can sort of see on the left how this feedback, you can see scattered light cavities in blue and shocked molecular hydrogen in yellow, showing sort of the crisscrossing outflows in this region. It contains an outbursting protostar, HOPS 383, which went under an outburst from 2004 to 2019. One interesting thing is that these outbursts are basically mass accretion events. How often do they occur and how important are they? You can look at the outflow map and you see all these knots, which may be from previous mass accretion events, but are they? We have found with the IFU data a little knot very close to the protostar, and when we measure the velocity, the dynamical time coincides with basically where we know the outburst happened. So this knot we have now established is related to the outburst. Thank you.